Watch this video before you take the leap and buy a new sewing machine or an overlocker. Hello, my name is Juliet Uzel of sewcial.com, and if you are into making your own clothes, owning your style, showcasing them for everyone to see, then this is the right channel for you. I'd really appreciate it if you took a moment to hit that subscribe button right down there and the bell notification right next to it, so that when next I upload a video, you'll be notified. So this video is going to be all about sewing machines and overlockers. Sewing machines and overlockers are huge investments, in my opinion, and I really do think a few things need to be taken into consideration before you purchase yourself a brand new one. Before you buy yourself a new sewing machine, especially if it's an expensive sewing machine, ask yourself these questions. Do I need a new sewing machine? What kind of projects am I going to use the sewing machine for? Is it going to be curtains, clothes, mini little projects, presents for friends and family? Is it going to be for creating for a business? How thick are the fabrics going to be? Are they going to be thick curtain fabrics for my business? How often will I use it? How noisy is it? Especially for those midnight sewers who have neighbours who do not like noise. Is it computerized? How many stitches does it have? Side note, we mostly need straight stitch, stretch stitch, zigzag stitch and buttonhole stitch. How many stitches does it have? Side note, decorative stitches are not a necessity. Okay, so after asking yourself these questions and you are definitely sure that you do need to buy yourself a new sewing machine, fine. A pro tip for you is to buy that sewing machine from an actual sewing machine shop. Now, this is the reason why it's really important to buy a sewing machine from a sewing machine shop. It's so easy to walk into the sewing machine shop, have an engineer or a salesperson walk you through the machine. You actually get to test drive the sewing machine like test driving a new car. Try it out, use it on different types of fabrics and make sure that it's the right machine that fits into what you want. You also need to buy from an actual sewing machine shop. Just in case something happens to your sewing machine, you can always take it back in there because you would have a warranty, or most sewing machine shops will have a service department where you could have someone have a look at your sewing machine if something happens to it, which is the reason why I do recommend going into an actual sewing machine shop. Buying sewing machines online isn't much of an issue if you do know that you have a local sewing machine shop where you can always take a sewing machine to get serviced or to get repaired. But my pro tip is to buy from an actual sewing machine shop. For those who like to get a bargain from supermarkets when they do random deals, just be very careful when you buy those sewing machines because you just don't know. Okay, so here are the key things to look for in a sewing machine, especially if you do go into an actual sewing machine store. Is it easy threading? Does it have speed control? Does it have a stitch width or length control? Is the buttonhole function very easy to use and follow? Do you have a twin needle ability? Does it have a bobbin winding function? Do you have a choice of stitches? Do you have a free arm for the pockets, the sleeves, for hemming your trousers? Does it have an overlocker stitch for those people who do not want to buy an overlocker? Do you have different zigzag straight stitch lengths? The points are endless. Things to consider are endless. These are the things that I would consider if I were to buy a new sewing machine. Another thing that I actually might want to get if I were to get a new sewing machine would be a knee lifter. It's just something different, just something that I'm not too used to. And I've tried a Singer sewing machine with a knee lifter. It took me a while to get used to it, but if I were to buy myself a new sewing machine, that's something that I might include in my new sewing machine. So, you know, the list is endless. I mean, the things to consider are endless, but just bear in mind that sewing machines, all you need are your straight stitch, stretch stitch, you need a zigzag stitch, and you need an overlocker stitch for finishing off the raw ends, unless you already have an overlocker or you do intend to buy a new overlocker. Question of the day: if you are hoping to buy either a sewing machine or an overlocker, let me know what the key thing you want out of your sewing machine or your overlocker is. Okay, so moving on to the overlocker side of things. I'll be very honest with you and I'll say to you that it's not a lie. Overlockers do give your project a professional finish. There's no hiding that fact. However, there are lots of things that you need to think about before you buy yourself a new overlocker. Do you need it? Do you already have other methods of finishing the raw ends of your fabrics? Pinking shears do the job. Some machines come with overlocking stitches. There are so many things that can be done to the raw ends of your fabric. But if you do think, I can afford it, I'm really ready to invest in an overlocker, that's fine. How much use would it be? Especially for those people who do not work a lot with stretch fabrics, or people who already use their sewing machine to do the overlocker stitch to finish the raw ends of their fabrics. Ask yourself that question. It's really important. Does it have a cool threading system? That's a big bonus, especially with these new ones that have come out these days. If I can get myself an overlocker that has a really easy threading system, I would be over the moon. The very first overlocker I bought years and years ago was a Janome overlocker, and it wasn't so hard to thread. What I do is I tie a new thread to the old thread and pull it through, so it's not too hard for me to thread it. But the new Singer overlocker that I've got now, I find quite tricky to thread because it's got a bar in front of it, and that bar makes it really difficult for me to get my hand through to thread it. But for some people it's not an issue, because like you've got that option of tying threads to old threads and pulling through, so that's not a big issue. But then if I were to get myself an overlocker that has an air threading function, you've got me. Okay, so another thing to have a look at is, does it have a free arm? Now, when I say free arm, I mean, are you able to overlock items with small circumferences, like a sleeve, a small sleeve? Are you able, or kids' clothes, really tiny things? Are you able to work around those items with small parts? If you have a free arm, you'll be able to work with that seamlessly. So that's an added bonus if your overlocker does have a free arm. Does it have tension control? That's something else to consider. Does it have extra feet and accessories? I tell you what, most overlockers these days come with extra feet and accessories, but those ones come quite expensive. But if you have that option, go for it, because you could do things like gathering using your overlocker, which is so cool. I wish I could. I've never actually had a go at doing something like that, and I would really love to do that. So if your overlocker comes with different feet, you are lucky. You also need to find out if it has a differential feed system. That also helps with fabrics that are really tricky to work with. But if everything else fails, there are YouTube videos specifically for individual sewing machines and overlockers. So the best thing to do is go that step further. Do your research by searching for videos on YouTube to see the actual sewing machine or overlocker in action. You want to see it being used. You want to see the person using it and see how they're getting on with it. You also want to read reviews. You want to have a look at the actual sewing company, the sewing machine company, and have a look and see if they have videos showing how to use those machines, because a lot of us prefer actual video manuals, and it's much better, isn't it? If you can see someone else setting something up and showing you how it works, that's an added bonus. So I would recommend that for you if you were looking to a new sewing machine or a new overlocker. And I wish you a lot of luck with your sewing machine and overlocker purchasing adventures. Do let me know how you get on. And if you got value from this video, please smash that like button down there, and really hope to see you in my next video. Till then, enjoy the rest of your day. All the best.